I used to go to bed really late back in the day, and recently I've been going to bed at 10 o'clock and waking up naturally at about 4:45, 5:30. And what I've noticed is that you have so much done so soon. It's like it's 11 o'clock and I've done everything.
Yeah.
I've done what I need to do. I've gone to the gym, I've gone to the ice bath, I've gone to the sauna, I've done my walk. It's 11 o'clock. What do I do? And then that's the point where if you're bored, you just have a fucking wank. And you're like, okay, now I've had a wank, what do I do now? So having something to do is very important. And I've noticed that back in the day when I was bored, you just think of the same thing that gives you a little dopamine rush and you just keep thinking about it. Whereas if you are active, often you're actually too tired to do anything. So the great thing about going to the gym is that it slows your brain down, because if you're physically exhausted, then your brain's exhausted. So if you're occupied and you're doing something, then you're probably not going to even have the energy or even think about doing the usual pattern.
It's the circadian rhythm, and I've always kind of like, how's that matter? Like, how is that like a thing? Like, it didn't make sense to me logically. It's like, how does it matter when I go to bed? But like, I know if I fall asleep before midnight, I will wake up automatically between 5 and 7 a.m. and I'll be ready to go. If I fall asleep after midnight, I could sleep for 24 hours straight.
That was my thing too. Naturally, when you like release all this energy, you are tired. But again, it comes down to being able to channel these things and use them elsewhere. Like, I used to go to bed really late and I used to wake up really late, and I would find that everyone else who's living their life is knackered by like 3 o'clock. And because I've just literally woken up at 12, it's basically morning for me. So now I would go out clubbing and go to the casino at like till 4 in the morning, and I'd be supercharged. And I'm like, why none of my friends wanting to go out? That's because they've been up since 6. So I had so much energy out of like thousands of people because I've literally just woken up. So when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with Tourette's, and my whole life since then, I was on medication, and the medication basically suppressed my brain from being able to think about all the shit that was coming into my brain. I came off the medication, and all of a sudden my twitching stopped. And what did I realize at that point? That I was receiving so much energy and creating such an electrical current in my brain that my body couldn't cope with it, and it was coming out in the form of twitching. So when I was twitching, I was basically using muscular energy to secrete out energy. And at that time, I also did something else. I stopped masturbating. I was an excessive masturbator, like 3, 4, 5 times a day. I had so much energy that it was being stored deep in like my sacrum or wherever the fluids are produced, and as a result my thyroid or my gland that creates the semen was just so active that I ejaculate loads. And every time I used to go out, I used to have constant boners. I'd pick up the energy of everything, constantly having a boner at school, always hard, waking up hard, and I have to wank to keep the energy down. And now I realize that actually you can control the boners essentially and use that energy in other ways. Then you don't need to wank every day. You don't need to watch porn every day. And when I started doing that when I was 21, my manifestation was on fire. I would think about shit and I'd see it in the street. I'd think about somebody, they would appear. I'd want something, it would happen. It was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? Then I went through a phase of back in the routine, wanking, blah, blah, blah. Energy and manifestation stopped. Now I've got back into not masturbating, and no joke, within a week of not doing it, manifestation comes back. My ability to make shit happen in real time comes back, and it's a secret weapon, keeping your sexual energy in you and using that to manifest rather than just spaffing it out in a tissue.
I'm curious on what practices, because what I'm noticing for myself, I've tried no ejaculation, no porn, semen retention, all that stuff for probably 5 years, and I've never been able to stick to it. It's been maybe a week, and then it's just like fucking overload. And what I've noticed just now recently, basically starting that again since the end of March, it's been more effortless than ever. I'm still finding myself, struggling a little bit with it, especially after the third week. It's like you're coming up on a month. It's getting difficult again. And especially as well when there's not a consistent flow or practice that you're doing. What I've noticed with myself, and this is like so present for me, I'm just like realizing and learning these things, it's been coming through the following weeks, is when I'm actually able to effortlessly do semen retention and leverage that power. I need an outlet. I need a way to express it. For me, that's a lot of the time going to the gym, but it doesn't need to also be this like type of expression. It could also be through art. It could also be through journaling, for example. But one thing that I've also found is fasting helps, as well as stretching. But I'm curious on your practices. When do you notice that it's like, oh shit, there's an overload? And also, when do you cap it? When do you go like, all right, it's time for a release now? It's that 1 month, it's that 2 months, 6 months. What's your experience?
So when I was 21, the longest I went was, I think, 2-3 months, because I was hoping to fall in love with this person and I was kind of waiting for her. It never happened, right? So that was like the longest period I've ever done. Now, the longest that I've done is actually, I think, about 3 weeks, because I went on holiday for a week and then I was going to meet somebody who in like 2 weeks' time. So I held on for like 2-3 weeks. Then we had sex. And then I'm like, okay, I'm still in that charge of having sex. So then I had a wank and then I got back into that pattern. So since 21, the longest I've been, I don't think it's been any more than 3 weeks, because naturally you want this load or this release out of your body. And unless you have a purpose, such as you're seeing a woman in a few weeks' time or whatever, you don't have really a reason to hold on. So I find that if I'm seeing a woman, I can happily go a week until I see her, and I can last so long. I do Kegel squeezes and it's like the best ever. And I don't even need to come. I can literally have sex as long as I want, and I don't need to come. So because I've got that, I'm like, well, I don't need to be sexual by myself because I've got that coming. Whereas if I haven't got a female, it's like, I'm bored, back in the pattern of bored, what do I do? And then you go into that cycle of that routine. And then before you know it, it's back in the routine. The thing about being creative and putting it into art and everything, haven't gone down that path yet. It is a struggle, and it is very hard. It's literally like trying to come off heroin or alcoholism or stopping smoking. And that's insane, because most marriages, you could say the man doesn't really have sex anymore. But I think it's, if you're really charged with energy, then it's a problem. And if you're very open and conscious and you're empathetic, that's the problem, because you're picking up of everyone's energy.
That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting to hear that you're saying that your streaks are around 3 weeks, because what I noticed is my initial motivation to do this was I had a girl that I met come over to Norway from Canada. And so I was like, okay, she's coming in a month. And when I was with her, I met her in Costa Rica. I was sharing with her and we had sex and whatnot. And for me, it wasn't about that either. I just wanted intimacy and depth with someone, because I've never really had that in my life. She led it, she initiated. I was like, I'm fucking down. And so, but I noticed how like my sexual passion was just not there, because I'm so used to masturbating in porn. So I was like, you know what the fuck is this? And I shared this with her too. And it felt like, the fuck am I saying? Like, is this really what I'm doing? And so sharing that with her, I was like, yo, actually, this is fucked. So when I came home and we kind of planned to link up again, I was like, I'm stopping. I'm quitting. I'm gonna do this thing. And I had, I knew she was gonna come in a month. So it was a very easy, target, because I had a goal. And when I have a goal and when I know that timeline, it became very easy. And even the first 3 days that we were together, we were having sex, but I wasn't ejaculating. I wanted to like retain this power, and ended up ejaculating and letting go. And it was interesting though, because like I still felt the power. Like it wasn't that like, okay, I released once and then all of this built up power from a month is gone. No, it was still there. I think it was after maybe like 10 releases or 5, 6, 7 releases, I noticed that, okay, now I'm noticing a difference in my power, which was very interesting. And especially in this industry, especially, you see younger people, this whole David Goggins mindset of grinding and forcing shit and blah, blah, blah. it's very easy to get caught up in this trap of like streaks and like creating these rules and parameters around yourself, when essentially, and I find myself still battling that. Like even today, I was like contemplating, like, should I release? Should I do it? And I'm like fucking, you know, like really like leaning into it's like, fuck, am I really doing this? And then I didn't do it. But then I was like, why am I not doing it? And actually the reason that I didn't actually pull through with it was because of fear of judgment of myself, because I killed my streak. Oh, am I gonna fucking hate myself now because I killed this streak? But that's so surface level. It goes so much deeper. It's not about the streak. It's not about not doing something or doing something. It's about the power. It's about the life force that you accumulate. And with one session of release, like, it's not going to take away from that. And so sure, there's a fear. Okay, I've done it once, now I can do it again tomorrow. That's always there. So there's a level of discipline and force that's required in the beginning. But that's something that I'm literally just learned that now, and I'm reflecting upon that as we're talking.
It's so true. I have noticed the same thing, is that if I've gone, say, a week or so, and then I meet a person and then we have sex and I ejaculate, I still have that power. It's almost like, as you're saying, you're not releasing the whole 3 weeks worth of power in one ejaculation. If you don't have any ejaculation for 3 months, you're not going to be like this powerful super king charged alpha and then this little greedy little fucking like ball in a field like he's lost his balls. It's when you build up the energy, it takes a while for kind of the energy to release from your body. So imagine an orgasm releases a certain amount of energy. If you have depleted energy because you're orgasming 2 or 3 times a day, then you're just going to be running on like low reserves. Whereas if you've got like massive reserves, like the America has oil reserves, then you can go through loads of oil in the winter. You've got barrels left. So if you put that into terms of energy, if, for example, I just release a big load after 3 weeks of ejaculating, in terms of energy, my body's an electrical storm. It's got energy all over the place. And I'm not just going to release like all my energy in one ejaculation load. But I definitely noticed that if I'm doing it all the time, I feel depleted. And if I go a week or two and I come with the woman right at the end, at the long session, I still have the alpha charge. I still feel the alpha. And I walk around feeling like an alpha. And I notice people looking at me differently. There's an energy that you give off like an alpha is supposed to in the animal kingdom, where female mates are attracted to you. You don't have to try and get it. It comes to you. It's law of attraction. But we've lost all this shit. And if you can hold off on the urge to come, you literally store it. And the next day you've got even more. And it takes a lot of training. And it is a struggle when you're on that climax and you just think, oh, I just did this time. And then you do it and you're like, fuck. Why did I do it? I just lost my superpower. I had all this energy and fuck, I've just lost it. And I'm annoyed with myself because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And then you're like, fuck. And it is a discipline, honestly.
The secret that I found is you can't be idle. If you're idle, your mind's going to fucking go into like, what can I do to fill this boring time? You got to do something. You got to be moving. You got to do shit. Which is why having a specific routine, like you were talking about, you're waking up at a specific time, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm getting back into my 5 a.m. routine now, which is when I feel my absolute best. And it's also when my sleep is at its best. I wake up by myself and I feel recharged and go for a run first thing, 20-minute run, 20-minute run, a little sprint at the end just to fucking get the heart pumping and all of that good stuff. Then cold shower, and then I'm, coffee, getting to work, or maybe I'll start with a little journaling session. Typically depends on where my head's at, and if I'm just like, I just want to get work done now. And then the work as well, like actually getting shit done and being present with it. I love my work. I love what I do. And so it's very rare that I find myself being distracted and like getting carried away. And then after work, eating, and then straight to the gym. And then typically by the time that I'm done with gym, I'm pretty much depleted and done for the day. And post that workout as well, I've had an outlet for that energy buildup. And so I'm not really tempted to masturbate when I come home from the gym. And then, another hour, 2 hours later, I've eaten and I'm tired, and then I go to bed. So for me, that's been like just having stuff to do. And even if that's, going out, like taking a fucking drive, meeting up with homies, like just something kind of keeping yourself distracted from those primal urges. Because when I notice they come up and when it's the most difficult, like the last 2 weeks, for example, I've been gearing up for a masterclass, which is just a lot of work and a lot of time behind the computer. And I haven't really had time to prioritize the gym. And so I'm just behind the computer. I'm just sitting all day. That's when I noticed fucking every day the urges was coming up, and I really had to push myself to pull through. But when that's not the case and I'm in a specific flow, fuck yeah, it's kind of effortless.
Yeah, I used to go to bed really late back in the day. And recently I've been going to bed at 10 o'clock and waking up naturally at about 4:45, 5:30. And what I've noticed is that you have so much done so soon. It's like, it's 11 o'clock and I've done everything. I've done what I need to do. I've gone to the gym. I've gone to the ice bath. I've gone to the sauna. I've done my walk. I've done the laptop shit. I've made my bed. I've done all my shit. It's 11 o'clock. What do I do? And then that's the point where if you're bored, you just have a fucking wank. And you're like, okay, now I've had a wank. What do I do now? So having something to do is very important. If you work from home and your bed's next door, it's very easy just to quickly, knock one out, right? And I've noticed that back in the day when I was bored, you just think of the same thing that gives you a little dopamine rush and you just keep thinking about it. Whereas if you are active, often you're actually too tired to do anything. So the great thing about going to the gym is that it slows your brain down, because if you're physically exhausted, then your brain's exhausted. So if you're occupied and you're doing something, then you're probably not going to even have the energy or even think about doing the usual pattern. But getting up really early, as close to the sun rising, is magical. And if I was to get up at say 8 o'clock and the sun rose at 4, naturally I want to lay in bed for half an hour, watch a bit of TV. And before I've even got up and done my teeth and had a shower, it's like lunchtime. And it's almost like the universe has run off without me. The sun is over there and it's run off without me. And it's so far away that my energy is now being pulled back to the next day, like sleep and kind of just surrender and be lethargic. Whereas if you get up as close to the sun, your energy kind of in alignment to the sun. And naturally you go to bed at a similar time when the sun goes down, and you just got all this energy. Like, we're connected to the sun, so kind of ride with it, like ride with the wave as opposed to going against the wave. And that's a life-changing thing I've just got into as well.
Yeah, I've it's the circadian rhythm, and I've always kind of like, really, like, how's that matter? Like, how is that like a thing? Like, it didn't make sense to me logically. It's like, how does it matter when I go to bed? But like, I know if I fall asleep before midnight, I will wake up automatically between 5 and 7 a.m. and I'll be ready to go. If I fall asleep after midnight, I could sleep for 24 hours straight, and it's weird.
See, I've thought about that. You say the clock 12 o'clock. Now, obviously, I'm in the UK, so in wherever you are, Norway, it's not going to be the same time as me. So is it where the sun is? Because if it is where the sun is, how come people in America, if it's the afternoon, aren't having the same problem? Because if I'm going to bed based on the clock and the opposite side of the world, it's a different time, is it based on the psychological time of, oh, it's getting late? Or is it based on the sun and the light where I am, and therefore it's different where someone in America is? Or is it a universal thing? Because I've always wondered that, because local times are different.
Yeah, it's the sun. It's the sun, and then obviously the clock is following the sun in a sense. But I think it might be psychological too, because like it's I've noticed, like, specifically at midnight, before after midnight is that breaking point for me, and that's irrelevant of the sun, because in summer in Norway where I live, the sun sets at fucking midnight. It's dark. It's like it's still bright at midnight. It's still bright at 1 a.m. and then the sun rises at 4 a.m. But in the winter, the sun sets at 4 p.m. and it rises at like fucking 10 a.m. And so I've still, like, for me, it's still been sort of according to the clock, but that's very much in alignment with the sun. Yes, it's a little bit more of a stretch compared to summer and winter, but like there's a general alignment there. And again, I also think it's psychological. As well, because like once the time passes midnight, it's like, fucking, do I go eat now? Like, you're getting hungry again. Oh, should I watch something? Like, that's when you kind of go online. And as well, back in the day, and like typically my sleep is very messy. Like, for example, when I was doing the masterclass, like I'd fall asleep at like 3, 4 a.m. That's when I would sort of like pass out. And it's those hours that you're most tempted to masturbate. Because it's like, for me, masturbation became an evening ritual. I would masturbate, and then it would be like easier to actually fall asleep, and I'd feel a little bit more like relaxed and content.
Yeah, it's a vicious circle, that, because that was my thing too. Naturally, when you like release all this energy, you are tired. But again, it comes down to being able to channel these things and use them elsewhere. Like, I used to go to bed really late and I used to wake up really late, and I would find that everyone else who's living their life is knackered by like 3 o'clock. And because I've just literally woken up at 12, it's basically morning for me. So now I would go out clubbing and go to the casino at like till 4 a.m, and I'd be supercharged. And I'm like, why none of my friends wanting to go out? That's because they've been up since 6. So I had so much energy out of like thousands of people because I've literally just woken up. They got up early, they've got no energy. And now I find that when I wake up at like 5, 6 and go to bed at 10, I'm knackered by the time it's like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm getting into bed at 8, falling asleep at sometimes 9:30. So now I'm like, well, now I've got less energy than everybody. So how does this benefit me? And it comes down to, what do I want to do? Do I want to have late night walks, explore the moon, be out when it's dark? Or do I want to get up really early, catch the sun, be up when no one else is up, see the birds getting their first early worm and all the butterflies and, you know, all the magical stuff that happens in the morning? And it's like, well, it really is a choice.
That's the thing. I've noticed too that I actually have overall, I have less energy. Like when I wake up at like 10, 11, 12, I can work for like 9 hours, 10 hours straight, and then I'm like completed. But when I wake up at 5, start working at 6, I'm typically fucking fried at like 11, 12. And it's like, damn, there's actually some downsides to this, but I'm pretty confident this is just because I'm not used to it. It's just my body's still getting used to it. It's going to take 2 months for me to really dial this in and make it a consistent practice. And also, it's just an invitation as well to fucking get off your laptop. Because like you said, I'm done with most of my work at fucking noon. And so that's it, especially now during summer, which is why I'm so adamant about waking up early now during summer, is I want to have time to go outside, go into nature, be with the fucking boys, hang out, tan. And like tanning time starts at noon. So if I'm done with work at noon, then I can fucking go and tan. And then I'm out doing stuff and I'm, you know, moving my body. So that's going to create more energy. So I'm going to be less sleepy. And by the fucking time it's like 6, 7, then I'm absolutely fried and I'm totally ready for bed. And then, then I go to bed. And it's about priorities. It's about what do you want? Do you value having, like, at least in the beginning, more energy throughout the day? Or do you value getting more work done? Because I'm way more productive in the morning hours. I'm way happier. I feel way more content and complete. And it's fucking great being up with the sun, with the birds, and you're just more present to life in general. My practices are on point more. I'm getting back into my stretching. It's like it's a keystone habit. It's the one habit, like waking up at 5 a.m. is the one habit that elevates every other aspect of your life. You're going to eat more healthy. You're going to get more work done. You're going to be more present. You're going to do your meditation. You're going to do stretching. You're going to hit the gym because you got more time. And you also, it's such a fulfilling thing to wake up early. So you don't want to waste it. You don't want to be a sloth because now you've done this. You started your day in the most powerful way. You want to continue that momentum. There's a fantastic book on this, which is what sold me on waking up at 5 a.m. It's called The 5 a.m. Club. I've read it 8 times now. It's one of my favorite books in the world. There's 3 books at my top list, and that's probably the top book that I've ever read that's had the biggest impact on my life.
So there's this thing called, you know, like we all have a body clock to whether we're a night owl or morning owl. So based on when we're born, all that type of shit, we're going to be more in tune at nighttime, more productive at nighttime compared to the afternoon. Now, the EMF of human consciousness on a map shows that when everyone's sleeping, it's really low. So, for example, I have a lot of high energy and other people's energies affect me. So at nighttime, when I used to work really late at my laptop, I was in this fucking zone. It literally would be 11 till 5 a.m. I'm on my laptop and I've just been doing whatever the fuck I was doing. I'm like, fuck, 5 hours has passed and I've been on my laptop. What the hell? And that's because everyone else's consciousness and brain energy is down. So now mine can penetrate because it affects me. So then I think, well, that only happens when I go to bed late. So the benefits of going to bed late is I wake up in the afternoon, I go out to see humans, they're tired because they've already had half their day, and I've just woken up. So I've got more energy with people. And then when they go to bed, I then get all my work done because all the EMF is low and I'm like a superhuman on the computer. Downside is I want to go out and everyone's asleep. They've got to work, right? So then you flip it. You get up early, you do your routine, you're in tune with the sun, you lag about lunchtime, and everyone else is working, but you probably have less energy than them if you get up and do productive shit. And then you get your work done in the afternoon, but then you might be distracted by your boys are going out to the beach and they're tanning and they're going to the gym, and so you're like, oh fuck, I want to do that, but I'm doing this. So there is pros and cons to going to bed late and in the morning, but it comes down to like, is it summer or is it winter? If it's winter and the fucking sun rises at 8 in the afternoon, 8 in the morning, go to bed late. Like if you get more shit done and you can wake up later when the sun comes up at 9 a.m., fantastic. In the summer like me, I want to be up as early as possible, surfing, paddleboarding on the river as early as possible, because people have got work. Normal people have work. So by 8 o'clock, they're not going to the beach and going out clubbing like I'd want to do. They're in bed, they've got work. So that's where it benefits me to get up early in the summer.
It's interesting you spoke to the like noon to 5 a.m. workflow, because I find myself that just being ridiculous, because you like that nobody else is doing anything, so like your energy just has fucking more spaciousness to go crazy. That's a really, really good way of painting it, because I've noticed too, like, why the fuck is it suddenly 5 a.m. and I've been at my laptop for fucking 5 hours, and it's very productive work as well. But it's like it's that time when people aren't doing stuff, which is why, waking up at 5 as well, you're waking up before everyone else, you feel ahead. And so because you have that momentum, and by the time people are fucking starting working at 8 a.m., for example, you've been hammering shit down for 2 hours and you've done a lot of shit. And you're not distracted because there's nobody trying to message you. You're not thinking about, oh, I got to check my fucking WhatsApp. Oh, maybe there's a fucking emergency during work. I should fucking watch that and blah, 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 blah. No, your headspace is clean. And a part of your brain actually doesn't activate before around 7 a.m. because it knows that it doesn't actually need to go crazy now and start overthinking and start blah, 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 because nobody else is actually doing something. So there's a mental neurological hack there as well that plays into getting up early, which is fascinating. It's fascinating, and it just makes sense to me as well. And to your point about night owl or morning thing, I think there's some truth to it, but I also think fucking almost everybody should be, if they want to be their best self, get up at 5, get up early, because it just makes sense. It's how we've been operating since the Stone Ages, since we were cavemen. We've been waking up and following the sun. When it's dark, well, we don't have any light, so we go to bed now. And so it's imprinted into our DNA. So the benefits and value there following that natural cycle, I think, supersedes any notion of like, I'm a night owl. I think that's also, it's easy to say. And so it's kind of like you're giving yourself an excuse. Again, it's not bad. Like, you shouldn't judge yourself if that's your flow. Like if you're getting shit done and it's winter or whatever, like, oh, with your flow, that's what I'm doing. I'm just following that flow, what feels true and what feels aligned in the moments, without letting that be a distraction from discipline and habits. But again, I think, everybody just got to find your own little relationship with it.
I remember back in the day when I had Tourette's growing up, I would go and sit on the toilet within 15 minutes of waking up. There'll be no twitching. And what was the key factor at that point? I wasn't thinking. I'd just woken up. There was no thoughts. There was no tuning into everyone else's thoughts and seeing stuff on the TV, stimulating a thought, seeing something on the computer, on the book or whatever. There was no information coming in. And then by the time it was lunchtime, all humans are in their peak mode. It's lunchtime, they're working, it's middle of the afternoon, they're getting their shit done, ready to leave at 5. And there's so much energy out there, and I'm absorbing all that shit. And that's when I start to twitch. And that's when you just become an overloaded computer. And so is there anything you wish to plug before we end it?
Anything I wish to plug? I mean, I guess my Instagram account would be the appropriate thing to plug. Life by Thor on Instagram. What do I do there? I talk about I talk about everything and anything really. The core sort of red thread through everything is just truth. I'm just on a mission of exposing the truth, talking about the truth, finding the truth in any realm of human endeavor. Talk a lot about exposing corrupt systems and the elite and big pharma and the school system and all of those things, as well as just like, what do we do to be happy? Like, because a lot of people, everybody's chasing, everybody's running around they're seeking an escape from fear, from that programming, which is essentially stress, anxiety. Like, there's only two emotions, there's love and there's fear. Everything else is a derivative from that. And so everybody's looking for outlets from their pain complex, from that programming. They do drugs, they make more money, they get more clout, build followers on social media, status, all of these things. It's all seeking. And that's why you still got billionaires killing themselves, because it didn't work. And they're like, fucking at the end of the rope, I've made billions now and I'm still fucking depressed. All right, there's only one more option, kill myself. So, you could say billionaires are deeper in the matrix than most people in that sense. And so that's fundamentally what the direction that I'm taking with my content is. Like, what is actually the path to true happiness? And that's also unique for all of us. And with that as well, when you're happy, when you're leading your life aligned with your unique blueprint, your soul's blueprint, your essence, you're able to serve. You're actually able to serve people and help people because your cup is full. And that's, I think, what we're all here to do essentially, is serve through our own unique creations.
And if you had one day left to live, what is the one last thing that you would tell the rest of the world?
Fear is an illusion.
Elaborate.
Fear is an illusion, because what is God? What is God? God is love. That's the fundamental building block of reality. That's why you have like, love is the answer, love is the answer. Have you ever contemplated, like, why do everybody say love is the answer? Well, because that's the fundamental piece. If you look at how children are brought into this world, they're just loving and they're just expressing themselves, and then they become programmed to believe in fear and to believe they need to act certain ways, which is just an extension of them fearing being judged or fearing being perceived in a certain way. But that's all an illusion, because the fundamental truth is just love, and that's enlightenment. That's what enlightenment is. It's just the realization of that. And that's what we, in a sense, what creates this experience on earth is that duality. How can love experience itself from a different perspective? Well, let me create fear. Let me create the polar opposite, so there's a new way to perceive love. But that polarity, that duality, is in of itself, from a higher perspective, an illusion, which is where you come into non-duality, which a lot of enlightened teachers speak about. Nothing is really bad. It's all just an extension of love. And love is the only real truth.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, like the episode, and comment below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's YesKingOliver. Take a look at the other videos to your side. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can do so on Apple and Spotify and most other platforms by going to talkwitholiver.com.